Major funding for these broadcasts is made possible by grants from Capital One Bank, New York Community Bank, Eastern Consolidated, M&T Bank, Sterling National Bank, Meridian Capital Group, Customers Bank, Ariel Property Advisors, Dime Community Bank. Additional funding is made possible by grants from AM Trust Title, AVR Realty Company, Avison Young, Bank of America Merrill Lynch, Bank Leumi USA, Briarwood Organization, CBRE, Chase Commercial Term Lending, Chase Commercial Mortgage, Citizens Bank, CPEX Real Estate Services, Colliers International NYC, Cohen Equities, Collins Building Services, Douglaston Development, Levine Builders, Flushing Bank, Friedman LLP, Handler Real Estate Organization, Handro Properties, Hodges Ward Elliott, Inc., Investors Bank, James D. Kuhn Real Estate Institute at Syracuse University, Kilroy Architectural Windows, Madison Realty Capital, Matone Group, Mercantile Bank, New Banks, Newmark Knight Frank, Optimum Window Manufacturing Corp., People's United Bank, Rockefeller Group, Rosewood Realty Group, SJP Properties, Stonehenge Partners, TD Bank, Terra CRG, the Meringoff Family Foundation, the Moynihan Organization, Moynihan Capital Partners, and these friends.
Washington Heights, Gramercy Park, Park Avenue South with social service agencies, Altos, Mayor Lindsay, no, maybe medicine, forget medicine, social work, 80 articles, 2 books, president of the Charles and Andrea Bronfman Foundation, UJA-Federation. I have the legendary community leader, Jeff Solomon. Thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure.
So tell me about mom's side and then dad's side.
Mom's side came from the Hessen region of Germany. They were poor dirt farmers and fairly orthodox.
Now, the picture we have of your grandfather, that looks like he was in the military for that picture.
Yes, he was a soldier during World War I, was decorated, and obviously 20 years later, his life and the life of all Jews in Germany so radically changed.
So mom comes over when, in 1938?
1938. And dad's side were a little better off. They were cattle dealers, leaders in their community on the Rhine for several hundred years. And Dad and his brother and sister come over here also about 1938. But sadly, they were never able to see their parents again. Parents were killed during the Holocaust.
Now, mom gets a job as a maid on Central Park West?
Yes, indeed. Sometimes we in the Jewish community forget what our parents and grandparents did to allow us the lives that we live today with the kind of freedom and the kind of opportunity. And while Mom was a terrible cook, she apparently was a good enough maid to have served in that family for a number of years.
And Dad?
And Dad came over with nothing except for the fact that he grew up in a family of cattle dealers and butchers, and that was a valuable skill.
So he gets a job at the Great Atlantic and Pacific Tea Company,
Absolutely.
a.k.a. A&P.
He worked as a butcher in the A&P, and eventually my mother becomes a bookkeeper
At A&P. That's how they met?
They met at a club for refugees, the Prospect Club, and their first date was at the 1939 World's Fair. And they loved the United States. They were grateful to her. They really believed that the life that they could lead, the kind of freedom they could lead, existed no other place.
So what does Dad do after the butcher?
So in 1945, the year that I was born, Dad and his brother-in-law, my uncle, Mom's brother, buy a store in the Gramercy Park area on 3rd Avenue and 18th Street, grocery with fresh meat, and eventually, because of the 3rd Avenue L coming down, real estate changes force him to move the store across the street, and then that building was sold. Then he moved the store back to the west side of 3rd Avenue, and finally he was in a position to buy the building that the store was in, so no longer would he have to move the store. Sadly, he passed away way too young, at 59, in 1974.
So tell me about growing up in Washington Heights. You went to public school in the Heights?
I went to public school. The Heights, on one hand, was considered to be Frankfurt by the river, with a large number of German emigres. But those years it also had a large Italian, Irish, and Puerto Rican population, as well as a significant African American population. So one of the great memories that has served me well in terms of community organization was in the 6th grade I was elected commissioner of safety for the school, which meant I was responsible for the outside AAA patrol and the inside service patrol. And I appointed as my 2 deputies the junior members of the 2 most prominent gangs, one Puerto Rican and one African American in the neighborhood. And we were actually cited for the safest school in New York.
You go to George Washington High School, and during growing up, since Mom and Dad had the store, that was your part-time job, delivering.
Certainly was. I delivered orders. I was the water boy on a number of construction sites. And a second business that really developed was we delivered lunch to Guardian Life Insurance Company, which was then on Union Square. And so I would go in at 5 in the morning and be part of the team that prepared 400, 500 sandwiches every day.
Perhaps it's in the DNA of Jewish parents who come over from Germany or from Europe. They wanted you to become a physician.
Indeed. And what I thought about it wasn't terribly important to them. So the default was pre-med for so many of us.
At the University of Pittsburgh?
Well, I was accepted to the University of Pittsburgh. I was accepted in an extraordinary 5-year BA MD program and was over the moon, excited to go, but my parents wouldn't let me.
You were too young.
I was 16 years old, and they did not think it was right to be off, so I instead went to NYU and faced what many young pre-med students face, which was an inorganic chemistry professor that graded seriously.
What was interesting was you said that when you worked on 3rd Avenue, you were in the Gramercy Park or the Park Avenue South Social Service Agency corridor, which subsequently changed your life. What happened?
So, I'm a big believer that serendipity means everything. And we had many customers who were in the social service field, who lived in the neighborhood and worked on Park Avenue South. One who was the director of family services of Community Service Society, a long-standing New York social agency. As I was delivering an order to her, said, we have a program this summer. It's part of recruiting people into social work. You might like it a lot.
And $70 a week.
And it pays $70 a week. And the idea of getting out of the store and making $70 a week was as close to nirvana as I could hope for.
So what happens next?
So what happens next is I work up in East Harlem, doing group work with younger brothers of primarily incarcerated young men with a lot of drug involvement, and also worked on community organizing factors, and such as developing a play street on 119th Street. And I fell in love with the work. Changed my major. Chose to do my graduate work at Columbia, getting my master's degree in community organization. Spent the summer between my 2 years of graduate school in Mississippi. It's 50 years ago this year. And felt enormously fulfilled with the kind of work I was doing.
So how do you get to City Hall?
Pure serendipity. It just keeps coming back. And in this case, the Commissioner of Social Services, who was then just appointed, was a wonderful professional by the name of Jack Goldberg, who taught the administration class at Columbia. And he invited several of us to come with him as we graduated. And suddenly I go from being a student at Columbia to bearing some responsibility for a department with 27,000 staff and 1 million clients.
It's a big responsibility at 23.
It was a great moment of change, and it was the real education.
So how do you end up in Washington after that?
So several of the commissioners wound up joining the Nixon administration, thanks largely to Daniel Patrick Moynihan, who was the domestic advisor. Nixon was doing amazing things in social service reform. And I was invited to join them as the liaison between the federal government and New York, which represented 10% of the clients of the country.
Next stop?
Next stop, regretfully, was Mount Sinai Hospital for a second bout of lung cancer, which led my doctors to advising me to leave New York.
Right, move down to Florida.
Move down to Florida.
Prematurely.
Definitely prematurely. I had a decent network in the Jewish social service world and became the associate director of Jewish Family Services, and proceeded to visit my pulmonologist every winter, asking, can I come back to New York?
When can I come back? When
Right.
can I return?
You know, there were two things missing. Decent pizza. Well, three things missing. Decent pizza, decent bagels, and decent conversations.
So you finally get approval to come back when?
Toward the end of 1980.
So you come back in 1980, and where do you start now?
So I start at an agency of UJA-Federation, Altro Health and Rehabilitation Services, which was the oldest sheltered workshop in the country, having originally served tuberculosis patients and now serving primarily psychiatric patients. And the agency was ready for a turnaround, had some tough years, and I was blessed to be there for 5 years and restructured lots of what went on.
Right, so from there, since you're in the UJA, this is before the merger.
Correct.
So you have an opportunity to go to UJA at the time of the merger of the UJA, the Federation, or should we say a conglomeration of entities.
Indeed.
In a difficult time.
It was a very challenging time for both UJA and Federation. It was a merger that took 13 years to come to fruition. And it created the largest local charity in the world. And the question was, what would it be manageable? And I was given the awesome responsibility of becoming its chief operating officer and trying to make it manageable.
I think, but one of the things that you said to me was important that you were working with some great lay leaders and you had some camps, right?
I was extraordinarily fortunate in working with wonderful lay leaders. I think one of the most exciting things about nonprofit work in general, but especially in the Jewish community, is how the best, the brightest, the most successful, the most affluent, the best educated are prepared to do anything for the community. And to have as your partner in trying to solve problems, people like, and I'll just take some who've I know you've interviewed, Larry Zicklin and Jerry Levin and Peggy Tishman.
And Alan Jaffe, my friend
Right.
Herb Kronish.
These were, to spend time working with them.
So how do you get the phone call from this former owner of the Montreal Expos one day, Mr. Bronfman?
So a headhunter who I knew and I admire, and who's become a good friend, calls and says, look, I wouldn't call you about anything that wasn't just right for you. And the Bronfmans are looking for a president to consolidate all of their philanthropic activities, and it's serious, and they are serious, and you should meet with them. And I said to him, I was then working on trying to re-engineer the UJA campaign. And I said to him, I'm in the middle of working on this campaign, and this is my interest, and I really don't want to interview with them. And then again, serendipity or the finger of God or whatever it is intervened. And it turned out that New York UJA Federation's Palm Beach event was at their home. And I was going down speaking at it, and the headhunter called back and said, it's not very nice, to use their home to raise money and you won't speak to them. And I said, you're right. My mother raised me to be at least gracious. I'm happy to speak with them, but make it clear I'm not a candidate.
So that was 1996 that you were not a candidate and you became the president of the Andrea and Charles Bronfman Foundation. Let's talk about certain of the projects, that they were involved with. Because the foundation basically ceased to operate.
Correct. It closed in 2016 by plan.
Okay, Birthright and Gift of Living. Let's talk about those two.
On September 14th, 2001, the late Andy Bronfman Charles and I started to discuss what did we want to do as a New York domiciled foundation for the horrors that occurred on September 11th. And Andy, who never took the easy way out, kept rejecting the discussions we had about grants we should make, and kept saying, we can do something. And that conversation then morphed into what can we do, and the question was, can we help the healing process for people who've lost somebody? And then we focused on perhaps we can arrange for every arts, entertainment, sports venue in the tri-state area to make themselves available for free at any time to families that lost somebody on 9/11. And to our utter amazement, there wasn't one organization that said no to us. We literally had the commissioners of every major league sports, the theater owners, the museums, all saying, we've been waiting to know what we can do. And we set up some offices and donated space in what was the Summit Hotel, and put together in 2 months, because we wanted to be open by Christmas, a ticket bureau that worked as any other ticket bureau would without money. And we were able to make an extraordinary difference to families. And because we believed that healing needs to transform into something else than pain, we opened it in Christmas 2001 and closed it Easter 2003. Birthright is another miracle. I wish I could say that we were all very smart. We had the advantage of a noble error. Our foundation had spent in the 90s $19 million to bring more high school students to Israel. And we discovered the trips were too expensive, too long. They were 6 to 8 weeks long, and focused on high school students, which meant you had to market to the student and you had to market to the parent. And as a consequence, you were getting the God Squad, people who were already committed to their Jewish selves.
Today, how many people have gone through Birthright?
600,000, 50,000 scheduled in 2018.
Besides writing articles over the years, how do you and Charles decide on the Art of Giving?
The Art of Giving came about. Charles wanted to write a memoir, and started working with some writers, and failed at it. Just couldn't get his story told in a way that was representative of his story. And we went to consult with somebody who I'm sure you knew, the late Gershon Kext. And Gershon said, Charles, just what the world needs. Another rich guy writes a story about himself. And Charles took it to heart and pops into my office the next day and says, you know what, we're going to write a book about something we know about. And we've been doing this philanthropy work, let's write a book about philanthropy.
What are the cards?
We began a division of the foundation which is now independent called 2164. The idea being there is a next generation of philanthropists who often go onto their family foundation boards at age 21 and don't know the first thing about philanthropy. And that we can help train them and train other stakeholders who work with them, their lawyers, their accountants, their private bankers, so that philanthropy can be more effective. You have to know what motivates you. And so we created this deck of cards which identifies a series of values, everything from selflessness to selfishness. And we ask people to literally go through this deck of 25 cards and rank the values in terms of how they see themselves and their philanthropic giving.
So how do you decide to write the second book? Because this is The Art of Giving. This one is more of the story of people who learned how to give.
We were surprised by the wonderful reaction to that first book. Its printing sold out in no time.
Even written in Korean, right?
Yes, translated into
Korean.
Korean. But it's fun to have a book translated into Korean.
So that was the sequel. Tell me about family now.
Blessed with a small but mighty family. We have one son and his wife, so we have one son and one daughter. And they have two wonderful children.
You better tell me the names of the children, more important than the parents.
Absolutely, because
That's right, they watch.
they watch, number one, and they and we have a common enemy called their parents.
Okay.
So Lucy just turned 14 and is a freshman in high school. And Raynon is about to turn 12. He is in middle school and is a serious budding tennis player.
And tell me about your wife, who's also involved with social services.
My wife has been for many years the president and CEO of Jewish Home Life Care in New York. Responsibility for a number of campuses and lots of home care. And is probably the leading advocate of bringing compassionate care programs like greenhouses to urban settings. She has actually edited 3 books, so
She beat you.
she beat me, but she beats me at most things.
So, as you were saying, it was serendipitous, I'll call it beshet, that you were too young to go to medical school, that the organic professor, teacher of organic chemistry, didn't like you, and that you had the opportunity of working in social services because you've done a lot of great work for the community. And thanks for being here today.
Thank you, Michael. It's a pleasure.